as you know, or as you should know, today is an International Press Freedom Day, right? Obviously, the United States should not be celebrating, or actually the West in general, not just the United States, but the UK, the European Union, these NATO-backed countries who have jailed or made a crime out of journalism. Julian Assange, of course, still sits in prison right now for exposing our war crimes and imperialism of the West. So here it is. The Canary wrote an article, as the world celebrates Press Freedom Day, Julian Assange remains in Belmarsh prison. It's really just, to me, very jarring to see us celebrate this when WikiLeaks publisher and journalist, by the way, WikiLeaks 0 retraction rate, 100% accuracy rate.
Absolutely.
And we know what we know because of Julian. We are here because of Julian, because of people who are pioneers who went forward, right? And the United States government, the Biden administration, is currently still demanding extradition for his role in publishing, of course, the cables, including these documents that were from 2009 to 2011, and of course they were given to him by Chelsea Manning, and they were known as the Guantanamo Files, the Iraq War Logs, the Afghan War Diary, and U.S. diplomatic cables, like I said, or #Cablegate.
Yeah.
Okay. So just pointing that out, because I think it's important I think it's like almost the main idea that a lot of us today were using this World Press Freedom Day to call attention to Julian Assange because he's still in prison. Now, let's remind you what Julian Assange said. He said, "We live in a mediocrity when what is politically possible is defined by the media environment." Let's take a look at this video from WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. Which, by the way, Trump did nothing on.
Noam Chomsky, in The Common Good, wrote that the smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but to allow very lively debate within a narrow section of that spectrum. We live in a mediaocracy. What is politically possible is defined by the media environment. I started WikiLeaks because I understood this reality, that the media frame defines the political possibility. So to bring about meaningful change, we have to enlarge the media frame. With WikiLeaks, we've had significant successes in achieving this in some areas, but more needs to be done. The single greatest contributor to our expanding horizons is you. You telling your friends what's up, what you saw, what you believe, and who's full of it. Contrasting what appears in the Australian press to itself and to the world. You form part of the largest bullshit detecting machine that the world has ever seen. That's why WikiLeaks has such support from people exposed to the internet. That's why we have such support from this generation, because you're better informed. This is the best educated generation in the history of the world.
I like the way you pointed that out, man, because a lot of people really criticize the youth nowadays and say they don't know shit, well, we know it and stuff. Actually, some people like yourselves who took all this information and data that was out there, regurgitated it, and really got educated on it. It's just a shame that there are so many distractions, and what Julian just said right over there was just so important. You know, I mean, sorry, I didn't want to step on that, but go right ahead, fam. It's just amazing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, though, that are overeducated, but still don't understand how everything is connected. And yeah, we are the most educated population, but we're also the most underpaid. So that's a part of it too. Now,
true.
The one of the fucking God, I can't. The audacity of this man to really say this today. Well, out of all days in the last 24 hours, right? He's literally just a complete and total just piece of shit, okay, for lack of a better word. He said, on World Press Freedom Day, the United States continues to advocate for press freedom, the safety of journalists worldwide, and access to information and offline. A free and independent press ensures the public has access to information. Knowledge is power. How fucking dare you, you piece of shit, you warmongering sack of dog shit. Like, how freaking dare you? Like, I cannot right now. Julian Assange is in prison. We are imprisoning a lot of other people, activists, political prisoners remain. And by the way, recently, the attacks on journalism have on the ground for not just covering protests, but anything, for having a camera from the police have increased. The surveillance state has increased. We're going to go into that. All of these attacks, the censorship, the power of big tech. We do not have a free press in this country. You cannot say that with a straight face that we have a free press when you're jailing somebody for exposing war crimes. How is that a free press? We have propagandists who get paid thousands of dollars per appearance to literally lie to the American people and just push them into this whole complete alternate reality where we're the good guys and we're spreading democracy, but we're like actually herpes and we're infecting everybody and just killing everything.
I thought, fam, that's a great analogy. I thought that, though, when we beat Donald Trump, we beat back fascism. And guys like Blinken and Merrick Garland, they really was going to let Julian Assange go. No, as soon as they got back at the power, they started demanding Julian Assange get extradited to the United States so they can lick their chops and do what they want with him.
And the same thing with Trump. It's like, he was like, WikiLeaks this, yes, Assange this, and he didn't do anything about it. He didn't do shit. So again, if you're considering voting for that guy that didn't do anything against the swamp, the national security state, really, do you care about freedom?
Fam, he's only one man. What could he do?
No, he's the commander-in-chief.
He didn't do the most important thing, that was letting go of Julian Assange. If you want to be for freedom of speech, you want to be for freedom of press, you should have done that. You had people like Randy Quaid, what was her name? Sarah Palin, Pamela Anderson, all these people, even conservatives going, hey, man, let go. Let free Julian Assange. Our friends over at the Duran, free Julian Assange, was wearing a free Assange shirt the other day. Conservatives wanted Julian Assange freed, and Donald Trump did not do so. Sorry. Disqualified in my mind for that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And so media release, right, put out this tweet. Hostility towards journalists is on the rise. Well, yeah, no shit. Journalists are fearful that increased harassment, abuse, and violence directed towards them during the COVID-19 pandemic could become this new normal. Hashtag Press Freedom, World Press Freedom Day. And here's the media release. World Press Freedom Day 2021, hostility towards journalists on the rise, releasing the 2021 report into the state of press freedom in Australia. Unsafe at work, assaults on journalists. The Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance says attacks on journalists increased both globally and here throughout 2020. And they have been cataloging this for 20 years. So, this is just in Australia, and they're cataloging it internationally. But what I'm saying is we're seeing this is a global thing right now because there's so much unrest, with the population, but there's also a lot of corruption in government. And of course, there is the technocratic panopticon coming in and getting us completely just reliant and crushed by big tech, especially independent media. As you can see right now, it's so important to support us, fam.
It's ridiculous that they're even trying to act like they're for freedom of press and freedom of speech. We always talk about the fact that big tech gave Biden $16 million. Mm-hmm. He's their guy. You know what I'm saying? And here you got channels like YouTube, Google, Twitter, Facebook censoring press, censoring speech. So it's a real big joke that Blinken would put that statement out there today. It's totally disgusting, fam.
And it gets worse, fam. I'm sorry. It gets absolutely worse because apart from the censorship we're experiencing, apart from Blinken's gaslighting, the imperialism, and just the constant attacks, the Biden administration, which I thought we actually voted out fascism and we were mitigating damage, like you said, may partner with private firms to surveil suspected domestic terrorists online. Now, if we go back to January 6th, before I even go into this, right? If we go back to January 6th and we look at the freaking just disaster of a reaction from the left. Like, the left became FBI informants, CIA agents. They were cheering for police violence. They were happy Ashley Babbitt got shot. I literally got called a white supremacist for saying it is wrong that she got shot. Because I don't condone police violence on anybody. I think it's wrong. And so it's just insane to me. Now, this is why you don't become the CIA during a completely exaggerated event that they pushed as a Capitol insurrection, and And because you think this is only about the alt-right and the Proud Boys. No, this is about going after all voices of dissent, anti-imperialist voices, but especially the left, because they see the left as a threat. I mean, they see like the real anti-imperialists, the people that are anti-authoritarian, as a threat. And any of these groups, and there's a lot of those groups on the left, they're gonna go after you too. So you were a fucking idiot for pushing this. And so the Biden administration is going to consider tracking extremist chatter by Americans online. And we've been seeing the crawl or the run to go in this direction. This would expand, of course, the government's ability to gather intelligence, but of course is going to draw criticism over surveillance of U.S. citizens. The Department of Homeland Security is limited as to how it can monitor citizens online without justification, and is banned from activities like assuming false identities to gain access to private messaging apps used by extremist groups such as the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Again, they keep putting in the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, but this isn't about them. They don't really see like a threat from these groups. They're just using these groups to be the meat to get everybody to agree to authoritarian crackdowns, guys. Yeah. That it's just that simple. Yeah. And by the way, let's remind you guys that we just covered the Postal Service's little department that's also spying on your Facebook posts, your Twitter posts, and all these things. How, like, look at all that's happening and tell me we don't live in an Orwellian nightmare. Yeah. And they can now browse through supposed unprotected social media sites like Facebook and obviously Twitter and any other online platform. But guys, they always find ways to get your private information. How do you think you have cops showing up at people's doorsteps when they don't even use their Twitter name, their real name, their address? These companies give them information. Yeah, this is happening.
Yeah, and it's kind of disgusting because this is the one reason when we said, like, okay, you know, we're not going to vote for Donald Trump, but like lesser of two evils. How can you even say that Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils when he wrote the groundwork for what eventually became the Patriot Act? He's been in bed with big tech. The security state is running wild, and they are using these groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers just as an excuse to go over there and spy on all Americans. This is not something that's new. Edward Snowden showed us this years ago when they're like, oh, we're using these powers to look at China and Russia. And it turns out they were looking at American citizens at 4 times the rate they were even looking at those two countries combined. So this is, once again, we let the vampire in the door. We invited them in. And now all our water, our holy water, our garlic, everything we have against them is now useless because it doesn't work, because they've made things legal to do stuff, and they're even outsourcing the data and the information they're collecting on us. It's a very scary time, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why I am a civil liberties guy. I don't know if you guys know that out there, but this is why.
Exactly, fam. And I just want to read, Johnny, two last paragraphs from there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 5th and 6th paragraphs. By partnering with research firms who have more visibility in the space, the DHS could produce information that would likely be beneficial to both it and the FBI, which can't monitor U.S. citizens in this way without first getting a warrant, which, by the way, warrantless surveillance the courts are doing away with that. Or having the pretext of an ongoing investigation. The CIA and NSA are also limited on collecting intelligence domestically. It would, however, involve empowering a unit at the DHS that is already under fierce scrutiny for its bungled handling of the Portland riots last summer. An episode that including collecting intelligence reports on journalists and unmasking private citizens, according to a source familiar with this recent internal report on the matter. And of course, this is just, by the way, we just went over the post office thing. We just went over the warrantless surveillance by the FBI. We've been talking about this, trying to warn people. A lot of us in independent media have, well, a handful of us, I wouldn't say a lot of us, a handful of us have. This is disgusting. Yeah. And I just want to say that the United States is prohibited from celebrating World Press Freedom Day until they immediately release and pardon and free Julian Assange. So
the U.S. Empire.
The U.S. Empire, absolutely.
Can you like that for me there, please?
Oh, yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you so much. Need to get some likes on there. 397. Retweet that, guys. That's awesome, too. You know, they were actually going through the banks to track people using ATMs in D.C. to go after what they consider domestic terrorist.
Yeah, exactly. That happened too. That, like, when this starts happening, you guys have to be against it, not just because it's Trumpers.
And you want to talk about China?
Yeah, seriously.
Clean our own house first.
Vanessa Beeley posted this. Press Freedom Day is an oxymoron to Western regimes. 100%. I mean, they cover up their imperialism. We talk about the U.S. Fabricated NATO-backed Syrian chemical attacks that were completely debunked. Vanessa has been on that from day one. Another tweet that I wanted to read, Glory Jones right here. We can't celebrate World Press Freedom Day while journalism is tortured in Belmarsh prison. Yeah. Free Assange. In all actuality, they're not just after me. They're after you too. And this is what's important about Julian Assange, is that they're after all of us. We are all Assange.
You have a couple more tweets. Let me load that up for you real quick.
Okay, sure.
So
yeah, we are all Assange. And again, this is like why when people say it's just one guy, no, this is like encompassing everybody. This affects all of us, whether you go to a protest and pull out your camera and you're a citizen journalist and that's what you do, or whether you're us or whether you're fucking CNN. I don't care. It directly affects everybody who works for press freedom. Taylor Hudak said, on this World Press Freedom Day, I am thinking of Julian Assange, who published award-winning journalism and is still imprisoned for his work. So there you go, Taylor Hudak. And then we have this gentleman, Paddy Manning. I like that name, Paddy. My message to Joe Biden, the POTUS, on World Press Freedom Day is to bring Australian publisher Julian Assange home after a decade. Please post your own short video using Bring Julian Home. I will do that today. The president may not hear us individually, but he will hear us collectively. He's not going to care. He's a piece of shit.
Can we do a video later?
Yes, we will.
Awesome.
You do your
everybody does a separate one. I'm going to do a separate. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, do your separate. Bring home Julian Assange. Let's do it. Is that the
Bring Julian Home?
Bring Julian Home. Hashtag Bring Julian Home. Do your message today. It's important. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Can we run this one?
Yeah, let's run this one.
All right.
All right, we're recording.
2 years ago, Donald Trump had Australian publisher Julian Assange thrown into a British prison as part of his war on journalism. Donald Trump is gone, but Julian is still in prison, charged with doing the same job as the New York Times or the Washington Post. So today, I'm calling on President Biden to end Trump's war on journalism. It's time to bring Julian home.
Yeah, Biden. So if you actually want to be better than Trump, bring Julian home. Let's, appeal to his ego. They're not going to do anything because Biden is a puppet. Sarah Abdallah.
Yeah.
Nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies. Julian Assange quote. There it is.
He said, if wars can be started with lies, then peace can be obtained with the truth. That was a bad Julian Assange. I got to work on it, but that's what he did say. He said that peace can be obtained with the truth. He said if wars can be started with lies, then peace can be obtained with the truth. And that's the thing, too. When it comes to elections, Julian did so much because he exposed what the DNC was doing to us. It was just ridiculous. So,
Johnny, I added Stella Morris.
He's got it.
Yes, his
Who is Stella Morris?
That's his partner.
Oh.
Okay, so she said, my reaction to Secretary Blinken and the Dominic Raab press conference on World Press Freedom Day. I'm angry because the single greatest threat to press freedom globally is the U.S. government's prosecution of Assange. The brazen hypocrisy is not just dangerous, it's completely unsustainable. Let's hear her.
Today is World Press Freedom Day. And I just watched a press conference where the UK government and the US government talked about global press freedoms and shared values in press freedom. And I'm angry because the single greatest threat against press freedom globally originates in the United States case against Julian Assange, an Australian publisher, journalist, my partner, and the father of our 2 children. And the US is prosecuting him because it doesn't like what he published, because the Washington establishment wants revenge. And the case it is bringing is saying that the US can go after any journalist anywhere in the world and prosecute them under US espionage laws, and that the protections of press freedom do not extend to them because they are not US citizens. The brazen hypocrisy is not only dangerous, but it is completely unsustainable. The US government must abandon this Trump-era prosecution of Julian Assange.
It's kind of funny because the U.S. government is attempting to extradite and prosecute a journalist who is Australian, who's not American, for doing journalism, simultaneously saying that the press freedoms don't apply to him because he's Australian. Well, if the press freedoms don't apply to him, then how do the accusations apply to him? So the United States has international jurisdiction over what a journalist does, an Australian journalist does, but also no, the rules don't apply because he's not American. It's just such bullshit. It's just disgusting
but he
bullshit.
hacked, fam. He helped hack. He helped Chelsea Manning hack
He did
the
his
computer.
fucking job.
And that's the argument right now. That's that he was a hacker of sorts. And, you know what I'm saying, that he also helped Russia is the other one thing. He was working with the Russians.
You know what the California Democratic Party cares about? The false accusations of sexual assault from Julian Assange. That's what the California Party cares about. That's what they denied a lot of these this petition to pardon Julian Assange and put it on the California Democratic Party. That's what they don't like.
Well, that's what the elites know. The elites know that they can use the emotions of progressives to swing them in a certain narrative.
Yep.
And when that came out there, everybody's like, "Oh hell no, no Julian, no nothing," and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Despite
even
the
if
fact
Julian
that
Assange, even if he was guilty, which all of that, you can read. Caitlin Johnston has a great thread just with all this information debunking it, right? Even if all of that, this is about press freedoms.
Yeah.
This is about press freedoms. This I swear, I can't with those people. Malcolm X tried to warn us about this more than 50 years ago. He said the media, and usually the last part of this gets tweeted, right? The media, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and make the criminal look like he's the victim and make the victim look like he's the criminal. That's exactly what's happening, guys. If you aren't careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. And this is true, and it's worse because now we don't have newspapers only that are in print that take forever to get there. News is slow. We have social media. We have big tech. None of us could have perceived how big this was going to be. That's why it's such a big deal.
That's why everything has changed too in the world, fam, too, as well. I have that clicked for you right above.
Yeah.
Everything has changed because of the tech revolution that we have, and so everything's different nowadays, and we have to adjust to today's laws. We have to adjust today's rights to what's going on today because there's so many things right now, and everybody is so confused across the board. And that's what the CIA said years ago. When everybody doesn't believe anything in the media, that's when our mission is complete, because now everybody's confused, everybody's at each other's throats, so they can control everything, and they're silencing the truth tellers like Julian Assange, and we need to stop this.
Right, and right before our next section and before we go over the Rokfin, I wanted to play this video because it relates directly to the intelligence communities that are persecuting journalists and persecuting Americans' right to a free press and to protest freely. This is the CIA. Now look how the CIA did this, right? This is video from Zell Squirrel. This is a video made by the CIA as part of the recruitment drive. Look at the language used and the t-shirt she's wearing, a literal raised fist. You can't make this shit up. They are co-opting what was supposed to be emancipatory language to enact mass murder and torture, okay? And they're tokenizing minorities, by the way, these psychopathic goons. Let's look at this.
Psychopathic goons.
When I was 17, I quoted Zora Neale Hurston's How It Feels to Be Colored Me in my college application essay. The line that spoke to me stated simply, I am not tragically colored. There is no sorrow dammed up in my soul nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. At 17, I had no idea what life would bring, but Zora's sentiment articulated so beautifully how I felt as a daughter of immigrants then and now. Nothing about me was or is tragic. I am perfectly made. I can wax eloquent on complex legal issues in English while also belting Guayaquil de mis amores in Spanish. I can change a diaper with one hand and console a crying toddler with the other. I am a woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. I am a walking declaration. A woman whose inflection does not rise at the end of her sentences, suggesting that a question has been asked. I did not sneak into CIA. My employment was not and is not the result of a fluke or slip through the cracks. I earned my way in, and I earned my way up the ranks of this organization. I am educated, qualified, and competent, and sometimes I struggle. I struggle feeling like I could do more, be more to my 2 sons, and I struggle leaving the office when I feel there's so much more to do. I used to struggle with imposter syndrome, but at 36, I refuse to internalize misguided patriarchal ideas of what a woman can or should be. I am tired of feeling like I'm supposed to apologize for the space I occupy rather than intoxicate people with my effort, my brilliance. I am proud of me, full stop. My parents left everything they knew and loved to expose me to opportunities they never had. Because of them, I stand here today a proud first-generation Latina and officer at CIA. I am unapologetically me. I want you to be unapologetically you, whoever you are. Know your worth. Command your space.
Okay.
Fam, that was beautiful.
You know what the worst part about this is that she says that she's not a walking checkbox of all these things. That's literally what she is. That is her whole point in this video. Weaponizing, tokenizing immigrants and being a first-generation immigrant. Tokenizing and weaponizing her ethnicity as a Latino woman, as a woman, as a cisgender millennial with anxiety disorder.
Full stop.
You see this shit? Like, they are weaponizing real things that should be good and promoted genuinely when it comes to actually fighting the oppressive system we live in, the empire. Instead, she's using those weapons to continue to bring in trust and faith in the security agencies like the CIA, the most deadly, disgusting, insidious agency that is out there that has toppled governments all over the world. The reason she's fucking in this country is likely because of U.S. imperialism, and here she is licking its boot like no other, deep-throating the motherfucking boot. Like, I cannot with this shit. It irritates me the most as an immigrant when I see people like this, see these Latinos doing little fucking theatrical performances for the CIA. It really just, it hits
like
another
the slow
nerve.
motion walk across the CIA crest
That
on the
could
ground.
be AOC.
I mean, like walking
Like,
across.
seriously.
I don't know, Johnny. Do you have any thoughts about the new, lovable, warm-hugging CIA that's being brought to you?
Doesn't it make you want to apply, Johnny?
This 2021, the CIA, Johnny.
I think they did a really good job of showing how they get intel and information. They
expose themselves.
The what was it, the full stop thing?
Yeah.
Full stop.
They don't fucking say that. in
They're
the CIA.
mimicking the language of the millennial and Gen Z.
Full stop.
That's what they're doing, dude. They want to recruit the new generation. Johnny, go apply.
Intersectional imperialism.
That's exactly what it is. And that's
That's our next topic, but we got to talk about some things. You guys, anything else on this, Johnny, before we get to the next one? Fee, great topic over there. It's the new warm and fuzzy. I want to get like all a bunch of Care Bears
Intersectional CIA.
with the CIA. It's intersectional imperialism. Yay.